Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Douglas Lang's Big Peat 33-year-old. Dustin, did I say that correctly?
Yes, sir.
This bad boy comes in at 47.2% ABV. It's a 1985 vintage, and it has a finishing in cognac and sherry casks.
Yep.
Dustin, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't this released in 2020?
Yes.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but 85 to 2020, that's 35 years?
It would be 35. So,
What am I missing here, buddy?
so occasionally, especially for someone like Douglas Laing, where they, they're a blender, kind of like Compass Box.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they pulled some of these casks, used them in part of their blend, and said, you know what, I like this one. Let's put it in a steel vat and let's hold on to it. So it stops aging. The age statement.
Yeah, it has
stops.
to be in wood.
Yeah.
It has to be aged in wood. So
That's my guess. Or maybe this was just sitting in a room for a period of time. Maybe they're waiting for something to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Should note also, Mike, this is the oldest Big Peat to date.
Dustin, you should know this is the first Big Peat I've ever had.
Oh, okay.
Shockingly. I've always heard great things about them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's not that I haven't heard of Big Peat before. I've just never got my hands on them. They're not easy to get your hands on.
I think the 12 year is the only one I've ever really seen. And they did a 26 year a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was the oldest to date. This is the new oldest. Now, Mike, a little whiskey history for you.
Give it to me.
1985. Well, let's start here.
Bears were the best team in football. Michael Jordan, it was his second year as a Bull. And Ryan Sandberg still tracking center field for the Cubs.
Jordan's rookie year, but okay. Well, it was the end of Jordan's rookie year.
You got it.
80-45. Also, the year I was born.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So vintage year, vintage Dustin.
That is why I made sure to pick this one up. When I saw it, I was a little bit hesitant, and I said, "Well, you know what? How many times am I gonna have left in my life where I can buy a birth year bottle for under $400?"
Absolutely, dude. That is
it's gonna go away very soon.
That is a true statement. Not only that, they actually say the year on it.
Yeah.
1985. I mean, how many 1985 vintage whiskeys are out there? Talisker 1985, a few of those. Almost got my hands on one of those one time.
Yeah. Now,
Promise to me.
Now, Big Peat traditionally is 4 distillates, as I understand it.
Okay, give it to me.
It is going to be Ardbeg, Port Ellen,
Okay.
Bowmore,
Okay.
and everybody's favorite blend, Kalila.
Yeah, Cleo's such a malleable spirit.
Yeah.
So malleable.
But now to the whiskey history. 1985. 2 of those distilleries were not in production, which tells us that this is probably Kalila and Bowmore, and that's it.
Yeah, probably true. What do you know about Port Ellen? You read the 11th release? Or the 10th?
No, I haven't.
Great whiskey, if you ever get your hands on it.
Yeah, if anybody happens to have some, wants to send me a sample or something, that'd be cool.
Don't send it here. All right, very nice light gold color here, Dustin, on this Big Peat 33-year-old. I'm as soon as you got this, I remember when you said you ordered, I was like, oh, that's something I would super be interested to try.
Yep.
So here we are. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Ooh, light nose.
Yeah.
I thought I would expect a bigger punch.
Yeah, they always say Big Peat, but I have not heard of any of these Big Peats being a Big Peat punch. And that's probably because they use Bowmore.
Bowmore and Kalila both come off to me very soft peat.
Kalila can come off bolder, but yeah, generally. I'll tell you what, Mike, I'm just getting a butterscotch candy on this thing. I mean, I'm not used to that note, but it's just so much butterscotch.
There's a twinge of that.
I'm also definitely picking up that cognac cask.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm picking up the cognac cast for sure.
Yeah, there's a little bit of red fruit at the end that's telling me there's probably sherry, but it's very light.
My lady cuts my hair. She's a big Hennessy fan. So for every year for Christmas, I get her, a bottle of Hennessy or whatever.
Oh, nice.
She loves the cognac.
There is a bit of burnt plastic in here.
Yeah, I was going to say, so instantly I'm thinking I can recognize Bowmore in this. So I'm getting that burnt plastic from Bowmore.
Yeah, definitely there. I'm getting almost like a lactose, like you get in like a lactose milk stout or something.
Another thing that I have recognized in Bowmore's before.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I recycle because I care. So I drink a lot of bottled water, so I always recycle them. And you can see enough bottled water piled in your recycle bin. I'm getting a little bit of that in there.
Gotcha.
And maybe it's summertime, so it's almost like it's beginning to kind of soften up that plastic. That's there. But then like a nice lemon that doesn't really have any acidity to it. I'm getting a little bit of that.
There's a lot of there's some earthy undertones here that are coming in.
Lemon.
That are starting to give me the peat. Like again, I'm looking for peat here, guys, and I mean it's taking its time to come out and show itself. And as you can see, Mike, I mean I didn't want to get this down to the bottom before we reviewed it because one, I wanted to get it in your hands and let you try it, and then two, at first I didn't know what to think. And as it went from about here to about there is when it kind of made the transition where I started saying, aha, I'm starting to understand this whiskey. Now I think the whiskey makes sense when you get into it. At first, it wasn't telling me the story.
I'm getting lemon loaf, which makes me think Kalila. I'm almost getting like a banana nut bread on it as well.
Ooh. You get lemongrass at all?
Well, I said lemon earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean you're right there, we're kicking around the same notes.
I'm getting a little bit of the grassiness with it. I like it.
Yeah, I can see that. Almost hay, maybe grass that died.
Yeah.
Got a little brown.
Brown grass or wet hay. Either one.
Yeah, not the smoke bomb I assumed it would be based on the name, based on the advertising. But as you know, as I've told you, someone who works in advertising for the better part of a decade, if someone's pumping up a certain thought process, it's usually not true.
Yeah, the people who constantly tell me that with age, peated whiskeys lose their peat, I feel like they had this whiskey before it even came out because this is a fairly recent release. But I feel like you've been drinking this.
Yeah, because a lot of times that's not our experience.
No,
but with this one, it's very light peat, or it's Kalila.
Kalila and Bowmore, they're the two lightest peated distillates. Again, we've had some bold Kalilas though.
Sure, this isn't one of them.
No,
if in fact it is Kalila.
Well, I would be shocked if they're not using at least two, and they've only got two to use, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go there. And hey, 1,500 bottles, that's not a lot of whiskey.
Light on the palate. Initially, when you swallow, it's ashy, almost like cigarette butt. I get a lot of the notes I get from younger Kalilas, even though this is an older one. Twinge of like a banana, maybe a banana peel. Lemon. I expected more.
The finish is what's really impressing me here as it keeps going. The smoke billows and grows, and it continues. I mean, I'm even I actually licked the top of one of my teeth, and I got a whole different flavor that came in all of a sudden. So it is, you get the age from that transition, depth, the richness. The actual palate itself, Mike, is like you said. It's there's some interesting notes there. I like the cognac.
Sure.
But I'm telling you, the whole value of this bottle to me is that finish. Without that, this bottle would be getting me laughing at it. But because of that finish, I think that finish is a 90.
I don't know if I'd go that high. There is some type of banana creme brulee type note to it on the finish that is nice, and I do agree that the finish is the apex of this experience. But it came off very light on the palate. And even at 47.5% ABV, 33 years old, I expected more oak. I expected more nuance. I expected more flavor.
I think I got enough oak in this one, but it's on the finish. It's not up front. Up front, it's a little too much Bowmore. I think is really the issue. The Bowmore is just. Sorry guys, Bowmore is not a distillate that I've had enough of where I liked it, and maybe a cask strength that would have fixed it. But then again, at 33 years old or 35,
it shouldn't need cask strength.
It's possible also that this is near cask strength.
Oh, 47.5? Very possible.
Could be very close. And, bottles that lose a lot of their oomph, even at cask strength, have lost their oomph,
Oh, yeah. And you see that in ABV, and you see that in flavor.
Yeah.
Think of the...
And you see it in peat even.
Oh, for sure.
A 51% cask strength peat versus a 59, same age.
Buddy, think of the Lafroig 28, what a disappointment that was. At 44.4.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just something that casks didn't do their thing, and they tried to jazz it up, and they put a fancy weird weird age statement on it, just like this 33. That was a 28.
Yeah.
Anytime they try to trick you with the age statement, you think oh, well, that seems interesting, but you think why?
Yeah.
Why didn't you let it go 35?
Yeah.
Why didn't you let that Lafroig 28 go 30? You know why? Because you couldn't wait any longer. You made a mistake, and you decided to cut your losses.
Very possible. Now, I also heard a few people when this came out, and I was talking about buying it, and they said, hey, Why'd they use cognac casks? Are they trying to hide something? Was there some need? Was it a finish in cognac that they used? And again, they don't disclose it.
Sure.
I kind of like the cognac, the way it's playing with the Bowmore notes. I kind of think that rubbery, plasticky thing in cognac it's a unique, different experience. I wish there was more of it. Because honestly, God, I wish they kind of covered up the Bowmore a little bit.
Okay, so I've added some water for us here. I will say this, when I go back to nosing it, I am getting straight Bowmore. I'm getting straight rubber and plastic Bowmore.
I'm actually getting a little bit of soot now. Like, I'm getting more smoke.
I mean, maybe. But the Bowmore, at this point, I would be stunned if there wasn't Bowmore in this. I'd also be stunned if there wasn't Cleveland in this.
I know, I'm actually picking up a little bit more sweetness now, too.
I'm picking up banana again.
I'm not getting banana at all.
I'm getting banana.
And I get banana a lot more than you do, which is weird.
I'm getting banana and Bowmore plastic.
Definitely getting plastic.
No banana, huh? Even that kind of creme brulee banana?
You know, I see what you're saying. I'm getting more of like, I'm getting a creme brulee note. I'm not getting creme brulee banana. Again, I'm getting like you've roasted some like not very good vanilla and like a little bit of burning there. I get that. And I see where I think we're in the same range. And then I get oak, which I think the oak.
The small sweetness that I am getting off this, I feel is banana, which again is a young whiskey note.
Yeah.
And this is not a young whiskey.
I'm getting cognac sweetness. That's where I'm getting the sweetness from.
Yeah, I've had enough cognac to know if banana is like a component in cognac in general.
It's not one I've gotten, but this reminds me of like an Armagnac cognac sweetness. This wine cask sweetness.
I gotta say, overall, I expected more.
You know, let's see what maybe water fix the palate. Who knows?
I mean, it could, but based on the nose, I wouldn't guess that, and based on the start where the ABV is, I wouldn't guess that. But I'm wrong apparently. Oh, Dustin thinks I'm wrong. Let me see if I'm wrong.
I'm probably wrong. I think it went up. Went from like a 4 in flavor to like a 6. And I mean, so we're not talking like whoa, but yeah. I mean, it opened up a lot there. The water really brought forward a little bit of spice, a little bit of oak.
A little bit of spice. Definitely some oak.
Increased just kind of the richness of the initial flavor.
Made it more interesting.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that I'm actually feeling good now because I think it saved my score a little bit there.
Yeah, definitely knocked it up a notch or two. That puts it at 1 or 2.
I will say this, every time I go to this whiskey, my thoughts are always, there's something here that I like a lot, and there's a lot here that does nothing for me. And that's kind of the problem I keep coming back to. And I actually don't dislike the Bowmore plastic note here. Sometimes Bowmores I dislike. And I'll be honest, I disliked every note of Bowmore in that Devil's Cask you gave me, Mike. I love those casks, I love the sherry.
That's why you have to have Bowmore overly sherry.
But I did not like any of the Bowmore notes.
The only Bowmores I've ever enjoyed are Bowmores that are heavily, heavily sherry. Now, people say the 70 distillate Bowmore was excellent stuff. I may be wrong. My experience with Bowmore isn't as extensive as it is with other whiskeys and other Islay whiskeys in general. It's just not something I initially gravitated to. But I know a lot of people that really love, whiskeys in general, and people that are revered as connoisseurs, think highly of it.
Yeah, I do. I keep getting a really nice transition on this one, even with water. I just went back again. I get that nice transition. That tells me this is a complex, older whiskey. It's just not, it lacks doing anything. The cask did not do this whiskey justice. They needed a bolder cognac cask or a bolder sherry cask to do something more, to bring up the oomph, because Kalila and Bowmores are just sometimes not exciting, and that's unfortunately what's kind of come about of this. Is these were not good casks of Bowmore and Kalila.
Yeah, so let's move along to whiskey score here, Dustin, and let me go first, my friend. This is what, the 1985 vintage? That's exactly what I'm giving it, an 85 out of 100. Where are you at?
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I was debating an 86 because of the finish, but the upfront initial taste, honestly, it was an 80. It was gonna be an 84. And then we added water. And then I thought, oh man, this might be going 86 because I think the finish is nearing that 90 level.
Age cannot fix everything.
No. I will say this though.
Sometimes you got a bad decision maker. It doesn't matter if he's 20, 30, or 40 years old. Even at 60, some people are going to be bad decision makers.
But somebody likes cognac finishing. They don't want super peated whiskey, and they're worried about Big Peat. Maybe give this a try. There's only 1,500 bottles, so
that's a rare guy.
Good luck finding it.
Yeah, that's true. It's a
rare
whiskey.
bottle.
Yeah, it's a rare whiskey. It's a rare person that would appreciate that exact profile in life.
Now, Mike, I think I paid $3.20 for this.
That's disappointing.
But is it that disappointing when you think about what you get for $3.20?
I mean, again, it's an old whiskey.
It is.
I mean, I get that. I've had bigger disappointments in my day.
Can you think of a whiskey like this though? It's unique, isn't it?
Yes, I'll give you that.
So, would I buy it again? No.
Right.
Am I upset with the purchase? Not too upset. I think I overpaid by $40-50 for what it's worth.
$200 whiskey, maybe.
I'd gladly give $250 for it, I think, just because it's unique.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a unique experience. It's fun whiskey to look at. Again, this is very similar to Glencairn 21 that we just reviewed. 3 weeks from now, ask me anything special about this whiskey, and I'll struggle to come up with something. Ask me in a year, I'll ask you, we did that whiskey?
Yeah, I'd hope you'd remember that at least was brandy finished.
Cognac.
Cognac is a brandy.
Shows you what I know. Anyway, that's where we're both at 85 out of 100. If you're one of 1,500 people that were able to get your hands on this bottle, let us know what you guys think. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. And Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
We'll see you then.